I am Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson, and joining us right now from the Washington Post, City Hall reporter Mike DeBonis, and he's going to have a busy couple of months. It is official. All the candidates are in, and we are now looking at the April Fool's primary to determine who the next mayor of Washington, D.C. will be. Mike DeBonis, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you. Thanks for having me.
So Mayor Vincent Gray is running for re-election. It took him a while to decide, but it's official, and he made his announcement over the weekend, and boy, he's starting his re-election campaign, not with a chant of 4 more years, with a chant of, I'm sorry, I've caused pain and embarrassment to the city through my 2010 campaign. Is this really the way to kick off a re-election bid?
Pretty unusual. Usually these, when you launch a re-election campaign, for one thing, if you're the incumbent, you're usually launching your campaign sooner than less than 3 months before the primary.
He was the last one in, wasn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. He waited until to get on the ballot in D.C. You have to circulate petitions and start gathering all these signatures. He waited until that period was almost halfway over before even deciding. So he really did wait till the last minute. And then at this event, before he launched into his case for a second term, he felt he needed to offer an apology for the quote pain and suffering unquote caused by his last campaign.
Well, I mean, most people would look at that and say, you know what, that's coming a little late. Maybe we should have had that, earlier than now.
You know what? There's certainly a lot of people who felt that way. Talking to people who were there on Saturday, there were people who didn't think the apology was necessary at all. That they always believed that the mayor had their theory of the case is that the mayor was taken advantage of by people he mistakenly put trust in.
Right.
The mayor didn't have anything to do with this wrongdoing, and other people said they were glad to hear the apology if for no other reason than all of this.
Well, is there another shoe to drop in that investigation? We understand the investigation remains open.
That's right.
I mean, is it possible that we will have another shoe drop that could be very embarrassing for the mayor just about the time that the people in the District of Columbia are going to cast their ballots?
Very embarrassing. I mean, it's certainly possible. You have, the way the Justice Department works, it would be very unusual for them to charge the mayor directly or implicate him directly in crimes during an election. Typically, what happens is they basically put any sort of charging decisions like that on hiatus because they don't want to be seen as interfering in a political process. But it's not just the mayor directly who's involved here. There's the businessman who supposedly financed this shadow campaign. We're still waiting for him to get charged. That could happen really at any moment.
Mike DeBonis is the City Hall reporter for the Washington Post, and be that as it may on the investigation, Vincent Gray is in. He's looking for re-election, and now the field is set. We're aiming for this April 1st, the April Fool's primary. Let's go through the candidates in alphabetical order, and you give us a very quick thumbnail so we can get through them. Let's start with Muriel Bowser, D.C. Council Member, Ward 4.
Muriel Bowser, she's young. She's represented the ward that Adrian Fenty used to represent, and she was really considered a protege of his, and she's going to try and position herself as Adrian Fenty Part 2.
And a regular guest on Mornings on the Mall, so right there she's one of our favorites.
All right.
Christian Carter, government staffing consultant from Hillcrest.
Really, not much of a record. He did some work for the city, has been sued for not paying his subcontractors. Really don't expect him to be a factor.
Jack Evans.
Longest-serving council member in D.C. Council history, a long record of work in finance and revenue and economic development, and represents one of the more, lives in Georgetown, represents the downtown and the most affluent part of the city. Question is, can he expand his base?
I'm pretty sure his sign started coming up about 3 days after Gray's inauguration.
Yeah.
Vincent Gray, of course, the incumbent.
That's right. We'll see if people can look past the investigations and listen to the mayor's case for second term.
Retta Jo Lewis, former State Department official.
Rita Lewis is was an aide in Bill Clinton's White House. Did political stuff for the Clintons up until joined Hillary Clinton in the State Department. is better known in national political circles than she is in local politics. She's really a newcomer and needs to introduce herself to voters.
Vincent Orange, D.C. council member at large, and my assumption when he jumped in was he was doing it because he figured Gray wouldn't.
I think there might be something to that, but Vincent Orange has never missed a chance to run for office in his life, going back about 30 to 25 years.
Yeah.
He ran for mayor in 2006, got less than, I believe, 5% of the vote. He's given another shot. He believes that there's a path to victory for him, but most observers aren't really seeing it right now.
Andy Shalal, restaurateur from Adams Morgan, he's Hollywood's candidate.
That's right. Danny Glover came into town to stump for him this weekend. Danny Shalal's a really interesting guy. He's a very successful businessman, but he's also very liberal, has a very super progressive sort of point of view. And he's really an unusual character in the race, and I think is going to be one of the more interesting storylines.
And Tommy Wells, finally, council member Ward 6.
Tommy Wells represents Ward 6, lives in Capitol Hill, represents this in the fast gentrifying areas around there. He's running as Mr. Good Government, as the clean government candidate, is refusing to take corporate contributions. And he's making the case that if you want to clean up government, he's the guy for you.
All right, I got two questions. First of all, as some people have said, that the most important endorsement that one could receive in this campaign would be the endorsement of Marion Barry. Do you agree with that?
I think it's. I don't know that it's the most important endorsement, but everyone in this. If anyone tells you they don't want Marion Barry's endorsement, they are lying to you. They would love to have Marion Barry's endorsement. Coming up next Saturday, you have the first real straw poll of the race, which is being run by the Ward 8 Democrats, which of course is Marion Barry's ward. Marion Barry will be there. He likes playing coy. He's never endorsed early. If you look back at his history, he basically swoops in at the last minute and endorses the winner, who's obviously on a path to winning the race.
Yeah.
So, he does. His name, I think, is important, and it can help bring people to the polls and convince them that his candidate is the right candidate. I think that I wouldn't dwell too much on whether he can swing the race or not.
All right. Now, the other question I have is, what about the changing demographics of the District of Columbia? How will that have an impact on this coming election?
Tremendous question, and to be perfectly honest, we don't know. Typically, your super voters, the people who always show up in the polls, live in residential, middle class, and residential neighborhoods, in Ward 4, Ward 5, Ward 7, which in the outskirts of the city, also in Ward 3, which is the upper northwest, mostly white residents. There's just not a huge record right now of people who are moving downtown into these new condo buildings.
But we heard statement. When Anita Bonds ran for re-election for the special election that was had this last year, race started to become part of the conversation about the racial makeup of the council. Do you expect race to become an issue here?
Well, you hear it in more oblique ways. There's a lot of the candidates are saying things along the lines of, we need to take care of our longtime residents. We need to make sure that if you were here during the bad times in the city, you can stay here during the good times.
Wow.
And that's the way that the debate is going to be talked about. And everyone is really saying different versions of that, and that's a play to appeal to the longtime voters who lived in the city for a long time and see the changes and don't know what to make of it.
Going to be an interesting 3 months. Mike DeBonis, City Hall reporter from the Washington Post. Great stuff. Hopefully you will be a regular here as we
come back.
head to the April Fool's primary.
No problem.